Number 4, they want to know if you have legs. Believe it or not, a lot of women are aware that a lot of guys just hit the upper body. Every day is chest and arms, chest and arms, chest and arms. They want to know if you have some wheels, not necessarily huge wheels, but something going on downstairs. You know, they're looking at your butt, they're looking at your hamstrings, they're looking at your quads. They want to know if you actually get down and do the thing. So I'm a fitness trainer, and I happen to train quite a few older women at my gym. And one of the things I've noticed is over the years, I've heard them mention what they're looking for in a particular man. Now, if you guys are currently single, or you are on the dating apps, or you are in the market, let me tell you what these women are saying, specifically in regards to men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. So first thing, they want a guy in shape. Now, let me define what shape is. I remember I had a few clients. I used to train these 3 women at the same time. It was sort of like a group session type thing. And at one point, they began to open up to me, and they'd say, well, you know, I'm looking for a guy who's in shape. So I said, what does in shape mean? You're talking about a guy with a good build, strong, big muscles. They said, no, not necessarily. They're not looking for the biggest guy in the gym. That's not what they're looking for. I think what they meant is that they're looking for a guy in shape. Some visible cues as to whether or not a man takes care of himself, whether he has a beer belly, whether he has a lot of face fat. I mean, these are things that they mention. So, you know, don't come for me. This is stuff that they are actually looking for in a potential partner. You don't have to look like Ronnie Coleman. You don't have to look like Chris Bumstead. That's not what they're looking for, especially men in their 40s and 50s. In fact, they do not want big guys. Muscle heads, meatheads, as they say. They're not attracted to that. Some are, but for the most part, they want a guy with a good physique. The second thing they have mentioned is that they actually pay attention to how you carry yourself. In the context of a gym, this is what they've said. They look at how you interact with other people, whether it's other men around you or other women. If you are the kind of guy who keeps to himself, or if you are someone who talks a lot, if you interrupt people. Basically, they are sort of like low-key monitoring how you operate. Go figure. Third thing they look for, and this is something I never really considered, they want to know what you smell like. You know, if ever you have a girl coming up to you close to the gym, she's not necessarily speaking to you, but she'll walk by you. She's sniffing, she's smelling, she wants to get a vibe. You know, are you a sweaty guy? Do you wear a little cologne? Are you hygienic? I guess, you know, these are things that women in their 40s and 50s are looking for. And interestingly enough, a lot of these women are divorcees. They're not necessarily looking, but if they find someone attractive, especially in a gym setting or maybe a coffee shop, well, they'll certainly have their curiosity engaged. Number 4, they want to know if you have legs. Believe it or not, a lot of women are aware that a lot of guys just hit the upper body. Every day is chest and arms, chest and arms, chest and arms. They want to know if you have some wheels, not necessarily huge wheels, but something going on downstairs. You know, they're looking at your butt, they're looking at your hamstrings, they're looking at your quads. They want to know if you actually get down and do the thing. Here's the thing I noticed with the modern women, right? The modern woman basically takes care of herself. Right? She goes to the salon. She takes care of her skin. She has a skin routine. She goes for, Botox or maybe just skin rejuvenation type stuff. I'm not really into that kind of stuff, but they tell me, I know. They'll mention that if they are to date a man, they want a man who can sort of like keep up with them, you know, and I've pressed them on this. I said, what does that mean? You want a guy who does Botox and all this thing? They say, no. They say they want a man who basically takes care of himself, someone who's fit, someone who smells good. He doesn't necessarily have to make a lot of money. I know some of you will say, oh, no, that's BS. They all look for men who have like 6 figures and 7 figures. But honestly, I don't think that's true, because a lot of these modern women have their own money. They make their own money. Some of my clients, they have their own little business and they're doing quite well. So they're not necessarily looking for a guy to take care of them. In fact, they were well off when they were with their former husbands. They just want someone who can sort of match their lifestyle, be in shape, take care of yourself, and eat well. Here's another thing a lot of older women are looking for. They want to know if they can work out with you. You know, especially those who you'll see at the gym on a regular basis. They want to know, hey, can I train with this guy? Can we get a workout in every now and then if I start dealing with him? You know, I think the fitness stuff is really important to them, especially post-divorce. You see a lot of women get back into the gym after a divorce and they want to look their best, right? Especially the older women, they're trying to compete. And I get it. It's tough out there if you're in your 40s and 50s, especially for guys too. It's the same thing. You know, you don't want to lead with your wallet. Sometimes you want to lead with your physical attributes, if you will, and women are doing the same. So they want to know if they can get a workout with you and perhaps make it part of your sort of day-to-day activity. So a lot of my older female clients have mentioned that it's way better to connect over an activity that you guys actually like bodybuilding, maybe cycling, weight training, some type of physical activity. They want to know if you have some sort of fitness component in your lifestyle. So basically, they want a guy who's active and not too sedentary, staying at home, watching the game every day. Now, here's a very important thing a lot of them have mentioned, especially the older women who are in their 50s. Some of my clients have mentioned how they're not looking to take care of you. They want to make sure that they don't have to take care of you, right? So if you're rocking diabetes, high blood pressure, maybe you've had a stroke, maybe you've had a heart attack, a lot of them say that they're not looking to become a nurse. Again, not my words, their words. So they're looking for someone who's relatively fit, relatively healthy, and someone who basically has their stuff together, especially when it comes to the health side of things. And here is another thing. Aside from finances, right? They don't want to take care of you. They want to know if you can cook. They want to know if you know how to make a dish, how to make a meal, not just pizza all the time. They want to know if you know how to throw down in the kitchen. And you don't have to be a 5-star Michelin chef. Just make healthy meals. Look, I think the modern women, they definitely have their standards. And I know there are a lot of videos out there that trash them. I'm not trying to trash them. All I'm doing is reporting and telling you guys what I hear. Because it's funny, when you're a personal trainer and you train, especially women, at some point, you become like friends, and they feel more inclined, more in tune to telling you things that they normally wouldn't tell their other friends. And so it creates this atmosphere where they can be honest and say exactly what they want, because the conversation does lead to that at some point, Oh, are you married? Oh, are you dating? And so they'll tell you stories. They'll say, oh yeah, I had a date last night, but the guy had this and that they did not like. Or sometimes it's something they actually liked. And one of the things that keeps coming back is someone who's in shape, takes care of themselves, and they actually work out. This seems to be a recurring pattern. So consider this to be a body game blueprint. For those of you looking to jump back into the dating game as such, again, don't shoot the messenger. This is what a lot of these women have told me over the years. It's definitely a wild world. Anyways, like, share, subscribe. If you guys have any other comments, leave them down below. With that said, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. Most men over 40 and 50 are making these 3 arm training mistakes. I explain all of them in my free Big Arm Blueprint. Just click the link in the description and start building the arms you've always wanted. Or visit jawlinefitness.com/bigarm.